Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you, depending on where you are watching us from. Once again, I want to commend the Labour Party team for what they have done. Oh, that team is very intelligent, and a lot of people have been saying it. Okay, if APC will get away with every other thing, they cannot get away with this single one. INEC has gone to defend APC. A lot of people are saying INEC got to be neutral. Some are saying INEC will not be neutral. INEC will defend the result they have presented, or the stand they have taken in the election. Meanwhile, there is this particular one. When you talk about mathematics, you have to come out with how you arrive at the final answer. That is where INEC is gripped at the truth. Meanwhile, I would like you to see this video and we will be right back to analyze it.
But the good thing that I really love about what is happening here is that INEC is being put on trial itself. And that's why I think the petition by the Labour Party deserves some commendation, because they simply transferred the onus on INEC to prove to Nigerians that it conducted this election in accordance with its guiding law, which is the Electoral Act 2022, and then of course its guidelines. And so it's left for INEC to prove to Nigerians, including through their server, and then of course you have the portal which they had put in place, IREV, for the viewing of results, to prove to us that they follow their own guidelines. And if they do that, you see that the Amazon Web Service that actually hosts the cloud services of INEC is being put into public glare right now. INEC will have to tell us through the Amazon Web Service, if they are subpoenaed, as to how exactly these results were uploaded, why we had delays. And INEC is saying that it's going to be bringing two witnesses from its IT department to talk to us as to why there were results delay here and there. Well, all of this will provide clarity, and if they do not know how to provide answers to these questions, of course, technology, there are trails. And of course, some of these petitioners will follow through the trails, and then of course it will be difficult for INEC to be able to uphold its integrity. But I can tell you that that petition by the Labour Party deserves a lot of commendation. And then, of course, that of Atiku Abubakar too, that said that some of the results ought to have been declared inconclusive in certain parts of the country. But INEC seemed too hasty and went ahead to do those declarations. So it's left for us to be able to see the full content of what Atiku meant by those things, by saying that some of those results that came in actually were declared hastily. And then the last part of it, before I let my other colleague come in, is that INEC National Chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, told us at the Collation Center that all the observations raised by the agents, the party agents there, were going to be attended to at the end of the collation before the final declaration was made. So at what point in time did the INEC National Chairman decide to go straight ahead and make the declaration without considering the complaints by the petitioners, by their party agents? I was there, and I went live, and I said it clearly that the INEC National Chairman had promised Nigerians that he was going to review some of the observations, only for the INEC National Chairman to come back and announce the results. So these are some of the things that have led a lot of Nigerians puzzled, and Nigerians are right to request from INEC whether it followed its own procedures and the Electoral Act or not. It's left for the courts, and these judges, they are part of the Nigerian society, to tell us if indeed INEC obeyed the Electoral Act, the Constitution, and of course its own guidelines or not.
Pantete, a self-inflicted wound by INEC.
And have won. The final decider of an election must be the people through the ballot, not the courts. So the judges should not allow these politicians and political parties, presidential candidates or governorship candidates, to go through the court and get victory.
Thanks for that point.
Instead, they should allow the people to be the ultimate deciders.
Yes.
And as such, when we are going to go into another constitution review exercise in the 10th National Assembly, we should be very careful to look at the time frame by which we give, because even if you give 365 days, I can tell you that the politicians will still not, find it as enough time. Our democracy is growing, but the democratic culture must change. People must learn to form alliances so that they do not overheat the polity.
All right, so in the face of a growing democracy, talking of the people, let's bring it back to the people. And at this point in time, I would like to bring in Frank Tete, who is also thinking that it's going to be a tall order for us to tweak our Electoral Act. Given that we'll be seeing a tent assembly that is made up of different political parties. Some have called it a rainbow coalition. Is there some form of hope that we might have the tweaking of our Electoral Act that will be beneficial to everybody here in Nigeria?
It's very easy to actually amend the Electoral Act, but not the Constitution. So when it comes to constitutional provisions, kind of difficult, and that's why it's taking us unaware that the Constitution made such provisions that the election petition should be determined for a whole lot of time, as much as 240 days before, even while the declared winner is still in office. That's a misnomer. We forget somehow that reality doesn't really, support the fact that the people own the sovereignty in this country. Sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, and government must operate according to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Unfortunately, it's not so. It appears that those who run government, which is supposed to be in a short space of 4 years, are now the ones who operate, who have sovereignty.
So how do we bring the people back?
Because the people, they don't know. It's difficult, very difficult. Because we said people who are aloof, who are politically illiterate, they don't care about what happens. They sell their votes. They pursue politics of ethnicity. They say so long as our man that is there, he does anything, whatever he does is right, and it doesn't matter whether he plunges us into the sea of forgetfulness, whatever it is. Let us just go on. So there needs to be some, political acculturation, which requires a shift in the mindset. People must realize that they own this country. Those who run government, those who are civil servants, are not the ones who own the country. Unfortunately, they don't know. So until the people.
That's how far we can go on that video. INEC will be put on trial. Yes, that is the cocoa of this matter. That's where I am so pleased. I'm so happy to hear. And somebody asked, will INEC be neutral? Well, let's not put it that way. INEC should defend what they presented, how they come by the results. For INEC to have announced this particular person winner, INEC should be able to tell us how it come by. And this problem has been existing with our elections, and having to go back to the court to settle it. It was only at the time of Jonathan, really, that even while the result is still being collected, Jonathan congratulated Buhari. It made the work easier for INEC. There's no need to go to court. But this time around, INEC is being actually put to test. And there is this idea of if INEC will hurry up with this court case, not INEC, the election tribunal, hastening the, Olisabakaba was in the studio the other time. He talked about achieving it within a particular space of time. But this Gates is saying it's not possible, and that it will take, that should allow those stipulated time to be totally pan out, should allow it to go through the process. Meanwhile, he said there's no need to rush it. They should allow, there are many things involved. It's not an easy task. So with what he's saying, it appears Tinubu will be sworn in unless there is a miracle or something, or maybe due to certain developments during the proceedings, and there is a particular, I don't know what provisions in the Constitution or anywhere else that will stop him. I'm still wondering. But I believe if a very important point is raised, there are some points, like Abakoba said earlier while he was in the studio, there are some points that he said that were raised that he said can be decided within a week. They don't need, you don't need evidences, this and that. You just go to the Constitution. This is what it says. We decide here, we decide here. If the judges will be true to themselves, they don't need to hear this and hear this. After the petition has already been submitted, it's for them to just say, This is what the Constitution said. Interpret it properly. Even though every judge or lawyer has a way of, I'm talking about that of 25% in Abuja, plus Abuja, and they said 25% in 24 states of the Federation and Abuja. It depends on how the judges will interpret it. But these are cases that normally there are several parts of that petition that should be handled within a short space. According to Abokaba, it shouldn't take them more than a week to decide. Now, they said Justice Owais, I think he was the former, I don't think he's Attorney General of the Federation, former Chief Justice of Nigeria. They said there was a committee he set up and they looked into matters like these, post-election disagreements, and they arrived at something good, but I think it was not implemented. So, but the most important thing here is that INEC is being put under trial. Yes, it's like a mathematics question. You don't just jump to the answer. No, you take several steps, and each of that steps has marks. Yes, you realize some of the time you don't get the final answer, but you scored certain marks, almost the full mark for that question, because you went through the processes properly. The answers are not the main what the examiner wants really from you. What they want is the processes towards the answer. So INEC is going to be there to explain how they, in fact, it wasn't just this guy said what Labour Party did was so marvelous, wonderful. Now it wouldn't be the Labour Party legal team's task to work towards proving INEC did not do the right thing. No, it will be on the onus is now on INEC to prove how they arrive at the results. So the exam has been set for INEC. And remember, certain uploads have been made. There are so much evidences that what INEC announced were not, did not tally with what was uploaded to the portal. And remember, several polling units agents have their results. Yeah. After each election at the polling units, people sign, the agents sign, and INEC official uploads to the portal. So there are several things. INEC will explain what brought about the delays and why it didn't follow its guidelines regards uploading. We had that after the election. I'm not even sure INEC has finished uploading as we speak. I'm not sure. I don't even know. So INEC has a very huge task to defend itself. And the other gates also commended PDP's petition that queried the hastiness of INEC to upload the results. And there were questions that were raised during the collation, and INEC chairman said, okay, he will attend to those questions, but he didn't attend to it. The questions raised about irregularities and concerning the election, he didn't attend to those questions. He went on to just announce the results. And when we try to round up, I think the Nigerian people should be the one that decides by their votes who will be the president of the country, not the courts. And I believe members of these courts, like the guest said, are Nigerian people. So they shouldn't just rely on technicalities and wish away what Nigerians have selected by themselves or disenfranchised Nigerians. They are Nigerians and they do feel the pain in one way or the other. They have people that are around them are among the common people. Nigerians should decide who rules them and not just the Supreme Court or the tribunal setup. So this should be felt, not just the tribunal giving whatever judgment they want. No, Nigerians should be considered, that their vote should be considered while the tribunal passes their judgment, it should be about Nigerians. What is the mind of Nigerians? Who did they vote for? Who carries the majority vote? Then it will now come to meeting requirements. Meanwhile, viewers, what do you think? This is where we draw the curtain on this one. Please, if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, subscribe. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for more updates. Bye-bye for now.